So in the previous lecture, we talked about list data structure. Now the next one is tuple. So we will be learning tuple in this lecture. Now let's see the tuple properties. Tuple is immutable. That means once we create a tuple, we cannot add or delete or update a tuple. And tuple can take mixed elements. That is, you can assign integer, string or float or any other data type value to tuple, right? Generally, this tuple is used to store any confidential information. For example, SSN, right? So SSN is confidential for each individual, right? So to store any confidential information, generally we use tuple. Okay. Now let's see how we can create a tuple. This is how you can create a tuple, right? So here we are creating a tuple variable t1 and we are assigning different data type values. 1, 2, 3. These three are integers and we are assigning string, or you can assign any other data type value by comma separated, right? So this is how we can create a tuple. So let me save it and run the code. Now let's see what we have inside the tuple variable t1. So now you can see the elements that are inside this tuple t1, right? We can also create a tuple by providing the elements inside this parenthesis. So let me run this code. And now let's see what we have inside t2. So now you can see a tuple can be created without parenthesis or with parenthesis, right? So either way you can create the tuple. These parentheses, that is these brackets, are optional when creating a tuple. Okay. So this is how we can create a tuple. Now let's see how we can extract or select an element from a tuple. Tuple extraction or selection of elements is same as list, right? So let's say if you want to extract the element at the index 0, then we have to specify t1 of provide the index value. So that way we will get the value at the index 0, which is nothing but 1. So now let's run this code. So now we can see we are able to extract the element at the index 0 from the tuple t1. Okay. Now let's see if you want to extract multiple elements. For example, t1 of the starting index is 1 and the ending index is 4. Always remember the ending index is exclusive. So 4 minus 1, so it will consider until index 3, right? So what is the value at the index 1? It is 2, 3, and then index 3 is Python, right? So that should give us 2, 3 and Python. So let's run this code. So now you can see we are able to get the elements from the index 1 to 3. 2 is the element at the index 1 and 3 is the element at the index 2 and Python is the element at the index 3, right? Now let's try to replace the value of 1 with 11. So we are trying to get the value at the element index 0, which is nothing but 1, and we are trying to replace with 11. Instead of 1, we are trying to replace with 11, right? So let me run this code. So now you can see we are getting type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. So why are we getting this type error? Because tuple is immutable. That is, once we create a tuple, we cannot change it. That is, we cannot add or delete or update a tuple, right? So we cannot change tuple once it is created, right? So this is nothing but tuple. That's all about tuple. So let's quickly review what we learned. What are the tuple properties? Tuple is immutable. That is, once we create a tuple, we cannot change it. And the tuple can accept mixed elements, integer, string, float, or any other data type. And here we are creating a tuple by assigning these elements comma separated. Either you can provide without parenthesis or with parenthesis. Either way you can create a tuple. And here we saw how to extract the elements of a tuple. This is similar to how we extracted the elements inside a list, right? And here we tried to extract multiple elements from tuple. And here we tried to change the value of the tuple, which is not possible because tuple is immutable. You cannot change the elements of a tuple once it is created, right? So that's about tuple. All right. Thank you.